Saving the last for best.
Oh my goodness, Dee Snider, the man that lives his life on Zoom with a different background every interview. What's up?
As this is my skull collection.
This is
what did you do during COVID? Collected skulls.
your last one that I saw looked very Captain Howdy of you. You're in like a dungeon. I liked that one too.
Yes. Yeah. Check out. There's an Eddie Trunk one where I do crowd surfing, where I've got a crowd with their arms in the air, and I do a whole crowd surfing thing. But you got to keep you guys on your toes. But yeah, we're good to the top of the hour, man. So let's rock.
Well, Dee, welcome to On the Road to Rock. This is such a pleasure, my friend. How's everything going? I know you've been living your life on Zoom, doing interviews. It's a big week for you. Last week, you called it one of the biggest weeks of your career with the new album, Leave a Scar, coming out. How's everything been going? What's the reception been like so far, as we've had about a week to marinate on all this?
You know, when you start a record, in the best case scenario, because sometimes bands are sort of forced back into the studio and told you got to do another record. But in my case, it was inspiration. And that's the best place to start. And you get like this feeling like I got a great idea, and you get in the studio, you start working in going, this is great. They're going to love this. This is amazing. And then somewhere, I don't know when, but in the process, the exclamation points turn to question marks. And then all of a sudden you're like, are they going to love this? Is this great? Is this amazing? You start self-doubt creeps in. I'm Dee Snider. No, self-doubt. It happens to any creative. And so finally, when the record comes out and reviews start coming in and you get a response and it's what you hope for, which it is, it's been incredible. So it was an inspired record, and people are responding to the inspiration.
Well, just talk about your, working relationship with Joey Jasta from Hatebreed, how important it was. Because as I understand it, back in 2018, he comes to you and says, hey, I want to write and record an album with you. That winds up being For the Love of Metal. The results speak for themselves, one of the heaviest efforts to date. How can you top that? Leave a Scar has somehow done it. Talk about your relationship with him and how important that chemistry is.
You know, I love metal. I'm one of the day one metal fans from when I was a kid. When Sabbath and Zeppelin first hit the scene, I was there. And I've championed it my whole life through radio shows and TV shows I've done. And I've stayed in tune with the scene through my kids, who are all metalheads, I'm proud to say, and take me to shows and give me dad's hardcore playlist. So I'm always listening. But around the mid-90s, after Widowmaker, I sort of felt like I'd overstayed my welcome, and there wasn't a place for Dee Snider anymore. And that was the end. I stopped writing, and anything I did afterwards was sort of retro-y, Twisted Sister, or novelty record like the Christmas album or the Broadway record. But I didn't, I wasn't really in it, in a significant way. Jamie Jasta cornered me on his podcast and said, I challenge you to do a contemporary metal record. And I said, I would love to, man. I don't know where I belong. I love metal. I just don't know where I fit. He goes, I know where you fit. I will show you where you belong. And I said, well, who's going to work on this record? Who's going to write on this record? He said, everybody. And the outpouring from the community, people from Lamb of God, Disturbed, Killswitch Engage, and on and on and on. Ollie from All That Remains, may he rest in peace. The outpouring for Love of Metal was insane. I was like really overwhelmed, touched that people all thought Dee Snider belongs among us. Love of Metal came out. The response was huge. It went to the top of the Billboard charts. It was one of the number one metal records in the world for a while. And so when it came time to do this record, I never used the same producer two times in a row before. I didn't hesitate. Called up Jamie Jasta. I said, I'm ready to I want to do another record with you, with the band, with the same team. Let's go do it. So, but this time I want to be involved in the writing, because now I know where I fit. And I want to work with the team, but I want to be involved in the writing because I got something to say. There's a lot going on in the world. I need to express my feelings, but I want to use the same team.
And never was that more evident that with your fingerprints all over it than I Gotta Rock Again, which is a very Dee Snider song, man. And it's a sentiment I think that we all have been feeling this whole time. I've been to 3 concerts this summer. I don't know where it's going to go from here, but they're out there, it's happening, but I Gotta Rock Again. Take us back to that. That was the first single, the first video that came out back in May, and kind of set the scene for this whole thing here.
Oh, it did. It was really the flashpoint. There were certain flashpoints on this record where, because in 2019, I told my family, I told my management, I told Jamie and the band that I was done. I really felt that I was done recording and done playing live shows. I do many other things, radio, TV, movies, directing now, writing. So I have plenty of outlets, and I figured I'd leave on a high note. For the Love of Metal was a great statement for me to walk out and leave on. But then COVID hit. Then the politics of the world hit. Then I felt at all these like powerful emotions just surging through me. And one day, I just in my head just popped out, I got to rock again. And I laughed. I said, well, that's a Dee Snider statement if I ever heard one. Mr. I want to rock. You can't stop rock. I believe in rock. The bad boys of rock. Rock, 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 rock. I got to rock again. And I always work from song titles. And I wrote it down. And I looked at it. And I said, I bet the whole world's feeling this right now. I bet this is something everybody's feeling. And that's really, when you write a song, yeah, you write for yourself, but you're also hoping you're tapping into some emotion others are sharing. We're not going to take it. I want to rock. People making these statements that other people go, yeah, I want to rock. They wanted to rock too. So, and that started. I Want to Rock Again was the first song. That was the flashpoint for getting back in the studio and writing again. And then it went from there.
Well, you can get the album, DeeSnider.com. You can get it through Napalm Records right now. And you have a lot of different packages for this. We've got the colored vinyl. The red vinyl is awesome. Dude, all this stuff out there. It's great.
Splatter vinyl.
Splatter vinyl, right?
I used to look at when you were a kid, we used to do that thing where they'd let you put the different colors on the spinning piece of paper and it would spin. You do it at like a carnival or something and you'd make art. They got an album that looks like that. Yeah. And by the way, it's available in all the traditional ways like Amazon, Target, record stores. If anybody's got any of those around, you can download it from Apple, Bandcamp, places where the band actually gets paid for the work they're doing, and you can download it onto your technology.
Very important.
It's available all sorts of places.
Well, want to urge everyone to check it out. Dee, you're just a fan of everything you've done, including here's some connection we have. I was actually at Twisted Sister's final show in the United States in South Dakota in Sioux Falls back in 2016. Talk about that 2003 to 2016, that 13-year period, sort of Twisted Sister's second life, if you will, that I think is as important to the legacy of the band as Stay Hungry, as the initial MTV run. That 13 years, you guys were booked well. You were in demand. There was a mystique created about Twisted Sister because you didn't just tour and play everywhere. That 13 years, how important was it to you and for the band?
Spot on, but everything you just said was exactly right. And just you said that show you got to see in Sioux Falls, you were blessed because that was a club show.
Yeah,
and it was a club show because Chuck Brennan, who owned that club, which sadly is not there anymore.
Yeah, it went away like right after it was gone.
He is a metalhead, and he would pay full price to have any of the bands he loved. He had Kiss there. He had Kiss.
Stalking.
Yeah, he would get, if he liked the band, he was like, I don't care how much it costs, but you're not going to make the money back at the door. He goes, I don't give a shit. I want to watch the band. So, so credit to Chuck Brennan, and you got to see a Twisted Sister full.
It was awesome.
Everything, whatever it was, the whole day. Anyway, when Twisted Sister broke up, Twisted Sister, if you haven't had a chance to watch the documentary, We Are Twisted Effing Sister.
Yes.
Check it out. It's highly rated. And the reason it's highly rated because it's a really good documentary. I watch a lot of music docs, even bands I don't like. And it's given me like, I'm not a Dylan fan, but after watching a couple of Dylan documentaries, I like Dylan now. And I understand him as a person. And a lot of people after seeing the Twisted Sister, We Are Twisted Blanking Sister documentary, the people who weren't fans become fans. People who were fans have even more respect because they see the band was together 10 years before We're Not Gonna Take It. 10 years. That is not an accident. That is not a flash in the pan. That is 5 guys who say will refuse to lay down and die, refuse to take no for an answer. So when we broke up in 87, it was very quiet. People didn't even know we broke up. We put out Love is for Suckers, record bombed. I left the band, and it was like we came out like a lion, and we went out like a lamb. And that always bothered me. And I bothered me that here's 5 guys who stood shoulder to shoulder, fought for so many years, and now we weren't even talking to each other. So when we reformed in around, well, first it was in 2002.
New York Steel.
New York Steel.
Yeah.
And for all the right reasons. The first time we got together was for a 9/11 benefit.
Yes.
That brought us back together because what could we do that help? We could play. We were from New York. So we got together that. And then after that, we went and played for the troops overseas. So our motivations were not money. It was very charitable and very genuine. And for me, it was about reconnecting with the guys, because I was a real a-hole, man. I will say it straight up. I was a complete a-hole back in the 80s with my band. I made their life miserable. Mm-hmm. I broke up the band, but I figured it out. I got better. And I'll tell you, it took a few years before the guys trusted me. When we reformed, I know they kept looking, I'm going, hey guys, what's up? And they were like, what's going on here? Where is the a-hole? He's in there somewhere. He's going to come out. But I really, I had therapy. I got fixed. But that second time around allowed us to go out on a high note, to play before bigger crowds than we'd ever played in front of. Somehow we got bigger while we were broken up, and we just had these great shows, great times, great memories, and we ended as friends. I still talk to them all the time, and we are buddies, and we always will be. So it really allowed us to end on a high note.
It absolutely did. Blessed to have been at that show, like you said. I got to ask you about your appearance in Cobra Kai, because for me, it was like my 2 worlds colliding. Heavy metal. I'm a huge Karate Kid fan. Team Cobra Kai all the way. The show's fantastic. And Johnny freaking Lawrence shows up at a Dee Snider show. He says, this is the most badass rocker of all time. How did this come about? How did you wind up in the show? Because it's etched in my mind forever. My 2 worlds collided, and I'll never be the same.
This is, this is karma. I like to think that after I got my karma in the late 80s and 90s, when being an asshole caught up with me, and I lost everything and had to start over. But I've tried to live my life very differently, and I've made some friends along the way. And I do a lot of convention appearances, where you get autographs from people. And I run into Billy Zabka. And this is before Cobra Kai. He'd be there signing for Karate Kid. A lot of movies, guys for movies and rock and stuff. And we just hit it off, just became friends. And so then I remember one time he told me, hey, yeah, YouTube's going to do a new show called Cobra Kai. I was like, cool, that's great, man. YouTube? Like, what?
YouTube Red, especially?
Yeah, YouTube Red. What the hell is that? But he's my friend. I'm wishing the best for him, great guy. And meet Machio. He's, we're both Long Island guys. And so, and we connect as well. So then I get a call from Billy, and he goes, yeah, man. He goes, Netflix bought Cobra Kai. They're doing the next season. I said, that's awesome. He says, yeah, they're gonna rerun all the old episodes, and they're gonna put a new season. It's great. So I'm so happy for you, man. Again, good guys deserve, he's such a good guy. He said, would you be interested in doing a cameo in one of the episodes? I was like, fuck yeah, love it. So I'm sorry if I'm cursing.
No, all good.
Okay. So and my wife says, what's going on? I said, I'm going to tell you about Billy Zabka. He's got a show on YouTube, Cobra Kai. We had never seen one episode. So, I mean, and it was no slight on Billy. He probably never listened to all my music either. We're not going to take it. I Want to Rock. I saw the Karate Kid movies. So I'm like, yeah, he wants me to be in the show. He's like, okay, cool. So we go to Atlanta, and I know nothing about the show. I don't have the heart to tell him. I'm not up to speed on anything that's going on. And so I remember they bring me, okay, you're going to perform in this, this concert. And I'm back, and they got this kid in a wheelchair. This is so-and-so plays Miguel. Some guy in a wheelchair. And so, and the whole thing is filmed, shot. I know nothing about what's going on. This is a snapshot in the middle of something. I know nothing about the episode. I didn't read the script. I just know this is what Dee Snider is doing. I got to see Billy. I got to see Ralph. Awesome. Go home. And I got to go to the Atlanta Aquarium with my wife, which is like the best aquarium in the world. And so, yes, amazing, amazing. So anyway, COVID hits. Netflix releases the other two seasons. People start binge watching. The world becomes Cobra Kai fanatics. Everybody's the Cobra Kai. Season 3 hits. It was New Year's Eve. People are just locked in on their living rooms watching, and suddenly my social media explodes. My phone's blowing up. Everybody's calling me. I'm in the newspaper. I'm like, what the hell happened? I had no idea the show was as big as it is. Now I'm researching. 75 million people watched season 3. I said to my wife, we got to binge watch this show. I know people are getting interviewed. Everybody wants to know. So what was it like on Cobra? I know nothing about the show. We sit in the living room. We watch it the whole season. Unbelievable show. It's so smart. It's so amazing the way it bridges generations. I'm so proud to have been a part of it. Happy for my friends Billy and Ralph, especially Billy, and honored. And they proclaim me the most badass rocker ever. And I'll tell you, I'm putting that on my tombstone. That's what it is. Here lies the most badass rocker ever, Dee Snider, says Johnny Lawrence.
Oh, so, that's all you need right there.
Oh my God, it was the greatest.
That was, and I'm so glad you were a part of it. Dee, now, talking about, kind of reconnecting with your guys from Twisted Sister there, because it's crazy. Dee Snider had a podcast up until a few years ago, but now Mark the Animal Mendoza has a podcast. So does JJ French. I guess you've been doing radio for decades, but when do we get Dee Snider back into the podcast realm? Because that's where it's all going. You wouldn't have to do interviews with people like me. You just have your own podcast back. Where is it?
It's weird. I tried to start one and a couple of times, and I just didn't have as regimented. And I'm a self-starter. I write books, I write movies, I write screenplays. But with traveling around, I had trouble carrying, the equipment with me and setting up and doing the interviews and then arranging, and I just couldn't put the pieces together enough. Mm-hmm. So I'm on terrestrial radio. I've been for over 25 years with the House of Hair. It's crazy. And I do a lot of other things, but podcasts, JJ's got a great one. Mendoza's been doing one for a long time. It's great too. So I guess I'll just be guests on theirs and yours from time to time for the time being.
Hey, that works. You've been doing so many. You were on Busted Radio with our good friend, Bubba Ray Dudley. I'm sure Chris Jericho's going to drag you in. That's got to happen coming up. Talk is Jericho.
Jericho's Mr. Metal.
Of course.
And he's always been a fan and a supporter. I remember when I did the Fozzy, the original, you ever see the Fozzy documentary?
Yes, it's
documentary. Awesome. But there's something my part's very funny, but it's very tragic too. I don't know if you remember it, but the whole idea was that Fozzy, they were covering metal songs, claiming they were stuck in Japan and they wrote all the hits. And so they would do Stay Hungry. And the thing was that they would interview us and say and we were supposed to have had to actually ripped off Fozzy. So I'm sitting and I'm in New York and the World Trade Center is behind me. And my whole pitch is the Vanilla Ice pitch, because Vanilla Ice tried to once explain how Under Pressure and Ice Ice Baby aren't the same song. Have you ever seen that?
With that little bass line, doon, 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 doon. Right. Yeah.
And they go, no, and mine's doon, 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 doon.
Right.
And they're going, what? So I did the same thing. I was like, no, but their song and mine, Stay Hungry, is different. My song goes, dan, 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 dan. Theirs goes, dan, 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 dan. See, it's like these two towers. They look the same, but they're not the same. They're not identical. So and of course, how weird to have been there that moment. Whatever. No one ever thought that would be gone. But yeah. So awesome. Jericho, Fozzy. I have a long relationship with Chris.
Dee, before I let you go, I've got to get to our lone Facebook question, because this guy is the biggest Twisted Sister fan I know, and I got to get this in for him. It's from Shane Williams, and he asked me personally to ask you, he wanted me to tell you, first of all, that Tell Dee that he's my biggest influence in rock and roll, and his overall personality has shaped me in my adult life. That's awesome, first of all, and I hope that keeps him out of trouble. I assume he's still married. We'll just assume things are good with Shay. But his question is, as a physical front man, someone that's always out there and one of the best headbangers in rock, has that become more difficult with age? How are the live performances is different for you now than they were, say back in the 80s?
100%. I was charging full speed ahead to about 60, I say about 61. You see pictures of me, from 5 years ago, like 8-pack abs. I mean, just like bristling, just muscle, and that went on to the end of Twisted Sister. And but I told people we got to retire because I want a carb. I said, as a matter of fact, I'm changing the song. I'm writing new recording. I want a carb, and so then I mean, look, gravity beats everybody. No one, show me anyone in the history of civilization, the world, who's ever beat gravity. No one. We all get pulled down to the ground and into the dirt. Okay, so that's where we're all headed. You're just fighting one way or the other. And I say, fight the tide as long as you can. But, I've had a shoulder surgery, knee surgery, throat surgery. Now getting neck work done. You're headbanging your whole life, and this stuff takes its toll. But George Carlin once spoke about this, and he said, we're not supposed to cross the finish line of life in pristine condition, unscathed, and walk across in perfect condition. He said, you're supposed to slide in, beaten and bruised and scraped and scarred because you did something. You did something. And that's the truth. So all the people aging out, if you got aches and pains, because guess what? You lived your damn life. They are badges of honor. Badges of honor. So I got my neck, I'm going for neck work. That's because I headbang so much. I've got neck and shoulder problems. I'll take it. Because I lived. All right. I lived. I'm not crossing the finish line, walking up with a bow tie on. Oh, I had a nice life. No, I kicked ass.
There is blood on the path that you have walked, Dee. I can't tell you how much this interview means to me, Dee. You're the man. Thank you so much for doing it. Everybody, leave a scar. The metal album of the year. I'm saying it right now. We still got 6 months to go, but it's absolutely tremendous. Go grab it, DeeSnider.com or through Napalm Records. Thank you so much, brother. Stay safe, stay healthy, all well. We hope you see you out there on the road.
Great talking to you, man.
Thank you, sir.
All right, bye-bye.